What's up, y'all? I just want to touch on a topic that I'm quite sure we all talked about, all black people talk about, and white people don't want to talk about it. And the topic is about reparations. And the reason I bring this up is because I was watching an episode of Atlanta with Donald Glover, and they was touching on this. The whole episode was about this. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, what is this about? I don't have none of the usual characters on there. So I'm just seeing this white guy on it, and he's going through some situations. So it kept just nudging at me because I'm working, I'm doing something, but I got the TV going. So I'm peeping it out, and it catches my attention, and it just was hypothetical. What if, black people getting reparations from the slavery of our ancestors. And me and my wife was talking about it, and I never really gave it that much thought like I did once I watched this episode of Atlanta. And it really hit me because, to be honest with y'all, I was like, as far as reparations, I was like, nah, I don't worry about I ain't thinking about it. I don't want it. You know what I mean? It don't mean nothing to me because it's going to come off like something like charity or like welfare or something. And I've never been one to subscribe to that. I felt like welfare always hold us back as a people. And now when I was thinking about, once I watched this episode of Atlanta, it really hit me in a deep way because I really gave it some thought. And when I think about it, it's like, yeah, why not? Because you got to think about it. Like, think about it today. If you was forced to do something, if you was forced to work in a job that you're working now, and they didn't pay you, they fed you what they fed your dog, or they fed you what they fed the pigs. They housed you where they would house a dog, or they housed you where they would house a pig. And imagine that. And they raped your wife and made your wife take care of their kids and breastfeed their kids. And they did this for years and years. Well, I'm talking about generations have grown up in slavery. And as time passed by, when we come out of slavery, we got families, Caucasian families, that's still making a living off of what our ancestors established. You see what I'm saying? So when you put it like that, when it hits you like that is people still around with generational wealth for their next generations and on, that they will never be poor because they're living off of what our ancestors has established. When you think about that, yeah, why not? Definitely. Reparations is definitely due. And I had to think about that because I never gave it that much thought. But when you think about the horror of somebody making you work and living in their home or in their backyard. Like I went to Atlanta one time and I saw how some of the slaves was living. I went to some of the slave quarters, and y'all got to do that. If y'all never did that before, go to Atlanta because they still got some of these quarters existing where you can see how our ancestors was forced to live. Where I visit this one mansion where the whole place was immaculate. It was immaculate. I mean, it was amazing when you came in the door, but you went up to the top floor and it was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I mean, I seriously got teary-eyed because I thought about my ancestors could have lived here. My grandmother could have lived here. Not saying that this was the exact place where my ancestors lived at. No, but this is where my ancestors was forced to live. Similar to these conditions. When the rest of the house is immaculate, that these individuals had to upkeep. You see what I'm saying? And when you think about it like that, I'm quite sure y'all will agree with me too. Like, we got to revisit this topic, y'all. We can't let this die. Because you got families after families that has generational wealth that's going to live, that's going to take care of their families for the rest of their life off of the back of our ancestors, where they was forced to do this. not agreed to do this, and they don't want to give reparations. How dare you? So I just wanted to touch on that topic with y'all. Tell me what y'all think. Hit me in the comments, man. I know this is a touchy subject for some people, because it definitely got touchy for me when I started conversating with it with my wife, and I started, really giving it some thought, because it started hitting me, it started hitting me personally. You see what I'm saying? Because I put myself in that position. What if I was forced to work at my job where I'm working at, and living there and living in the backyard, and forced to eat food that they would feed to the pigs, and forced to live in conditions that they would live that right now where your dog will live at. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, reparations is due.